These images that we are getting to you from this residential area are the result of that U.S. military airstrike. Remember, earlier, initial details had indicated there was a rocket attack that took place in this area very close to the Kabul airport. But at this point, we can confirm, as our correspondent on the ground is also telling us, that this smoke billowing out of that residential area close to Kabul airport is the result of a U.S. military airstrike targeting an ISIS Khorasan suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out an attack at the Kabul airport, just days after that August 26 Kabul airport explosion. Also with us on the broadcast is Peter Quinn, a former U.S. Army Major. Quinn is a former helicopter pilot and intelligence officer who served 5 tours in Afghanistan. He was part of Special Operations Advisor to 777, a special mission wing. Thanks very much for being here with us. Your initial assessment of the details that have surfaced over the last 1 hour.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. The whole Khorasan initiative is very disturbing for Afghan self-determination. No matter who is trying to lead the country, no matter who is trying to form a sovereign state, the ISIS-K, the Khorasan initiative, is no good for anyone in the area. It's not good for Iran. It's not good for Afghanistan. It's not good for Pakistan or India. If anything, it will eliminate any opportunity, any hopes and dreams for a tripartite free trade zone between Pakistan, India, and Afghanistan one day. And this is crucial for interstate cooperation and for the future.
Tell us more about why you say that. Why you say that the ISIS Khorasan operations are such a serious threat for Afghanistan and the entire region.
They're a very serious threat in the immediate sense because there is the potential for a civil war over the next 3 months in Afghanistan. And if that civil war occurs, then there can be no legitimate state, regardless of who is running the country. And I think regardless if you're Taliban, Mujahideen, United States, or any other faction in Afghanistan, to have a civil war means there is no sovereign state. And this is something that nobody wants. We all want the opposite of that.
What do you make of America's intervention so far and going the way forward when it comes to countering these very operations? The worst fears, Peter, seem to be coming true with the Taliban takeover and the resultant tensions that we've seen on the ground and on the unfortunate, absolutely horrific attack that we saw on the 26th of August in which over 180 people were killed.
Well, I'm a private American citizen, so I will not speak on behalf of the U.S. government or the U.S. Army. But as a private American citizen, yes, I will say, the Biden administration had announced 48 hours ago, the United States is partners with the Taliban in terms of cooperation and relationship. I think this airstrike is a good thing. I think what you're seeing is we're addressing, or the United States is addressing, issues on the ground. Those idiotic factions of extremist nature that wish to do Afghanistan harm, like ISIS-K. This is a good situation to see that airstrike. Unlike ISIS in Iraq and Syria, where the Obama administration took many months, if not a year or two, to equip and react to it, you're seeing an immediate cooperation on the ground today.
Right. To those uninitiated, Peter, if you can break down what we know so far about the operations of the ISIS Khorasan terror outfit and its links with the Taliban.
Well, if you want to break down the operations, their mission command, ISIS-K, I would say is very clear. They want to destabilize the government, any hopes of a government that's sovereign in Afghanistan, in order to assert their own determination, which is the Khorasan initiative in that tri-state region. So these kinetic efforts, yes, they're bloody. Yes, they seem chaotic. Yes, they seem violent. But there is a method to their madness in which they are trying to exert their influence. And that influence is a message that nobody can have control of Afghanistan except for ISIS-K. And so it's very important that, we all, not just the United States, but India, Pakistan, Afghanistan government, we work together cooperatively to ensure that this does not happen.
Peter, a lot of concern also linked to the aircraft and the military vehicles left behind by the United States that have fallen into the hands of the Taliban. You've been someone who has been closely involved with the operations on the ground. If you can elaborate for us how serious these concerns are and going forward, what this would mean for Afghanistan.
On the surface, I would agree with you that the vehicles, it seems like an unfortunate situation that maybe they're attaining those what we call battlefield operating systems works to our disadvantage, the United States, or for the current Afghan administration. But if you look beneath the surface, it's very complicated. Those vehicles take maintenance, training, acumen, and ability psychologically to use them effectively. So those things will erode over time. They will not be combat effective. They cannot be sustained without a full logistics and life cycle support system behind it. So they really don't factor into the tipping point of whether or not ISIS-K will overcome the current Afghanistan regime.
Right, and specifically talking about the operations of the Taliban going forward, the claims that they have been putting forth. But talking about this very fact that these military aircraft that belong to the Afghan forces were given to them by the United States Army have now fallen into the hands of the Taliban. To what extent is that a concern?
I would say that's no concern. The Black Hawk helicopter, for example, it's an 8-to-1 ratio, 8 hours of maintenance for every hour of flight. That's very complicated, and it takes a lot of logistics and maintenance support in order to maintain an aircraft like that. And the same thing is true for the Mi-17, even though it's a great, glorious tractor of the skies. You need to maintain it in order for it to be what we call fully operationally capable, FOC. These are going to be short-lived life cycle battlefield operating system capabilities. They will not be able to assert air dominance effectively with them, and they will be short-lived.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.